4.2% in October. Data from the Philippine Statistics Office shows that unemployment rate in October is an improvement from 4.5% in September. This translates to just over a million jobless Filipinos, 150,000 fewer than last year. Employment rate also soared to 95.8% in October, the highest in 18 years, while underemployment plummeted to 11.7% in October this year compared to 14.2% in the same month of last year. This indicates that about 5.6 million Filipinos are still seeking more work or longer working hours. Factory production grew at its slowest pace in over a year as elevated inflation may have dampened demand. Manufacturing output, measured by the volume of product index, inched up by 1.7% year-on-year in October. That's according to the initial results of the monthly integrated survey of selected industries. The latest figure is far slower than the 9.9% logged in September and the 6.7% growth in October 2022. This is also manufacturing's weakest growth since the 0.04% logged in June 2022. RCBC Chief Economist Mike Ricafort told Business World that softer manufacturing production reflects the impact of elevated inflation. Ricafort says this pushed input costs higher. Meanwhile, Oeconomia President and Chief Economist John Paulo Rivera also says that slower factory output may stem from lower demand due to consumers' low purchasing power. Bangko Sentral Governor Eli Remolona says it is still premature to discuss policy easing in 2024. In a report by Business World, Remolona says the central bank is still ready to hike rates to make sure inflation returns to the 2 to 4% target range. He also says the BSP will remain hawkish as supply shocks could lead to higher inflation expectations and second-round effects. The BSP says they will only consider rate cuts once inflation settles comfortably within the target range. The Bangko Sentral raised interest rates by 40 bips, bringing the benchmark rate to a 16-year high of 6.5%. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Jago Castro. Final preparations are underway for the Christmas convoy to the West Philippine Sea. Donations wrapped in Christmas boxes and ribbons are now ready for the long voyage to the Kalayaan group of islands. Sacks of rice, canned goods, Noche Buena packs, hygiene kits, toys, solar lamps, and even statues of figures in the Christmas Belen will make their way to our soldiers and fishing communities in the West Philippine Sea. The mother vessel, with a capacity of at least 130 persons, will be carrying both donations and volunteers and will set sail from Manila to Palawan today. The three-day Christmas voyage officially begins on December 10. That's International Human Rights Day, where civilian boats and Philippine Coast Guard vessels will be joined by 40 fishing boats. And here to speak to us about the final preparations for the historic Christmas convoy to the West Philippine Sea, we have with us live via Zoom One News anchor Gretchen Ho. She will be joining the Christmas convoy to the West Philippine Sea along with fellow anchor Ed Lingao. Gretchen, first off, what's happening now? Kamusta naman ang final preparations for the Christmas convoy?
Good morning, Diego. Hindi pa ako tapos mag-pack. But
okay.
The mothership has officially set sail at 5 a.m. this morning, carrying volunteers, some members of the media, and the donations that are set to go to the Kalayaan group of islands. Our final number, 100 Palawan fisher folk are set to join on almost 40 fishing boats, together with 10 Palawan local civil society leaders, and of course, 41 volunteers from the youth and sectoral group. So counting that, that's more than 150 plus members of the media, kaya ang estimate natin dito more than 200 ang sasama sa Christmas convoy.
Okay, syempre our viewers are really excited about this event, but what can we expect in the coming days as you guys are departing towards the West Philippine Sea? I mean, ano ang timeline? When do you converge with the other fishermen or the other volunteers?
Well, Diego, if you're wondering why I'm still here in Manila, it's because us members of the media, we were given different choices. We could join the mothership, and we could also join the other civilian boats or the Philippine Coast Guard vessels already in El Nido. So Ed Lingao and I, we will be taking our flight this evening to El Nido.
Okay.
And then December 9, which is tomorrow, that will be the briefing of the media, and a send-off dinner will happen. Of course, we will also be collecting donations. And December 10, on International Human Rights Day, that is when the official travel will happen, starting from San Fernando Port in El Nido. We will be boarding the boats together with the fishermen from Palawan, and we will be venturing towards the Ayungin Shoal. That is first on the itinerary, but we won't be going anywhere near the BRP Sierra Madre. Don't worry, because that is part of the negotiations with the National Security Council. Bawal tayo lumapit because we don't want to stir up confrontation or escalate the already tense situation there. Dadaan lang tayo doon. We'll hopefully have visibility of the BRP Sierra Madre. Then we'll be visiting both Lawak and Patag Islands. Of course, doon natin ilalapag yung ating Christmas donations para sa mga soldiers and their families.
Yeah, you're speaking of donations. What kind of donations have you received? I mean, what was the common thing that was be sent, and how do you think this will be helpful for the journey?
So yesterday, I went to the Atin Ito headquarters in Quezon City, at natuwa naman ako, Diego, no, kasi nakita ko yung mga donations are being wrapped in Christmas boxes. And ang sabi nila sa akin, we don't want this to look like ayuda. This is the point of this, is to be able to spread the Christmas cheer to our frontliners, not just our soldiers, but also our fisher folk who are defending our seas in the best way that they can. So aside from canned goods, there were also hygiene kits, there were sacks of rice, there were Noche Buena packs, solar lamps, of course, meron din tayo mga laruan, Pogi kits, mula yan sa ating Alagang Kapatid Foundation. Meron din tayong MWell bags, gadgets, even sat phones. So we'd like to thank the MVP group of companies. They all donated to this cause. The PLDT Smart Foundation gave the Noche Buena packs, the Makati Med Foundation gave the toys, One Meralco gave the solar lamps, Metro Pacific, and of course, Alagang Kapatid nga, gaya ng sinabi natin. Pero yun nga, excited ang lahat na kahit pa paano maibahagi, makapagbigay ng konti para sa ating mga kababayan doon.
Gretchen, madami kasi nagtatanong no, about yung the soldiers, the Marines, BRP, Sierra Madre. They will also get some of the goodies that are being sent on this convoy or only the people on the island?
Okay, so for our convoy, we will be able to reach both Patag and Lawak Islands. But all of the donations will reach the 7 islands in the municipality of
Okay.
Kalayaan. Lahat ng kasama doon. Kasama doon yung ating mga sundalo sa BRP Sierra Madre,
Okay.
which is in the Ayungin Shoal. But we won't be the ones to distribute that. You will have the Philippine Navy be responsible for that because we want to be very careful as well while we're
Yes.
dealing with the situation. As we mentioned, this is a civilian effort, civilian convoy, and this has really good intentions of just bringing support to the people there during the Christmas holidays.
Gretch, tell us naman how One News was able to arrange all of this freedom to broadcast for this Christmas convoy.
Okay, the other day, Diego, we had National Security Council's Jonathan Malaya in the office. So Ed Lingao and I sat down with him, trying to convince him to allow us to go live from the West Philippine Sea because that has never been done. Ang sabi niya, if they allow this will be an official change in policy. So ang sabi ni Bok kay Sir Jonathan Malaya, kay ADG, is no, we really appreciate, us in the media, we really appreciate the transparency offensive that is being adopted by the Marcos administration since early this year. Sabi nga rin ng ating defense department is that we are winning the information war. But we raised this question to ADG Malaya. Sabi namin, why not from freedom of navigation, we go now to freedom of broadcast in our own exclusive economic zone? Doesn't that send a stronger message? And so, ang binargain namin, payagan kami sa primetime newscast ng TV5 and One News. At payagan din kami mag-broadcast live from either Patag or Lawak.
Yes.
At nagulat kami, the next day, we received an advisory of the NSC, the PCO, and the PCG allowing the media to broadcast live. Yun nga lang, hindi lang yun ang problema. No? We have the permission, but now the question is, will we have internet and will we have signal to be able to broadcast live?
Siyempre, ang daming issues dyan. But siyempre, alam mo, Gretchen, this is very historic nga, no? Freedom of broadcast. But of course, while this will send a strong message, we don't know yet how our Chinese counterparts will react in the West Philippine Sea. So what are the reminders and guidelines that the officials are saying for the convoy? I mean, were they honest about the possibilities of what can happen, the pros and cons?
Well, they had some things that, they told us not to say, for example, the number of PCG vessels. That's highly confidential because we don't want to compromise their security. But apart from that, they also told us not to shoot our government and military assets in the Patag and Lawak Islands so as not to give information unnecessarily. So yun lang naman, dalawa lang naman yung guidelines na yun. But gaya ng sinabi natin, yung broadcast live, that is going to be a challenge in itself because we do have Starlink for internet, but as you know, Starlink for the seas is different from a Starlink that you place on land.
Yes.
So we're not quite sure yet if we will be able to get signal from Patag or Lawak or if that is within the Starlink plan. Kasi pa nag-subscribe ka, pwede kang mag-roaming all around the Philippines. The question is, does Starlink allow that from Patag or Lawak Island? And paano namin gagawin yun from the boat? But if not, if we can't send video, we definitely have our sat phones to be able to talk to you and send audio over onto the office. But that is the goal of Ed and I, apart from, of course, joining this Christmas convoy and sharing in the spirit of the youth and of our sectoral leaders and our fishermen, of course.
Last question lang, no? You were mentioning about sending video. Now, were you told what ang limitations nyo in terms of what shots you can send over back to us here?
Ay nako, Diego, magugulat ka. Wala talagang sinabi-sabi na you can't shoot this, you can't shoot that. Yun lang naman, yung government assets,
Okay.
and military assets, yun lang ang bawal i-reveal, pati yung PCG vessels. But the rest, they're not really saying anything. And I think that's a huge step, seeing the National Security Council working with civil society groups in broad daylight. I think that sends a huge message in itself already, because kilala natin ang National Security Council, they prefer to keep things on the down low for confidential and security reasons, right? So this is a change in policy and a change in position
Yeah.
by our government. We are being secured by the NSC, by our Philippine Coast Guard, and of course that everything is in coordination with our government leaders.
Well, we're definitely excited for, I think tomorrow, no? That's tomorrow or today? Yung broadcast nyo.
Tonight kami lilipad. Tomorrow ang send-off dinner,
Yeah.
at Sunday ang official start of the 3-day voyage.
Well, of course, we want to wish you well, and thank you very much, Gretchen, for those updates, and please do stay safe.
All right, thank you very much, Diego.
For the first time, Gao and Gretchen Ho will attempt to broadcast live from the West Philippine Sea as the civilian-led Christmas convoy sets sail tomorrow, December 9. Tune in for live reports and updates here on One News and One PH. That's also available on Signal TV, channel 250 HD, and channel 8 on SD, and stream on Signal Play. And those are the top stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.